Okay, death and survival, causes of action. Previously, under common law, if a person died, they would die with all their rights and obligations. Okay, so this thought will enable you to understand the causes of actions which can survive when a person has already died. Okay, so the position was different previously, that if a person died, they would die with all their rights and all their obligations, except when it came to property, except when it was in relation to property. I'll give an example, that if a person was already in court, for instance, I've had a client who was in court. He was suing a certain company for trespass. Okay, this client of mine was suing Umeme for trespass, and he suddenly passed away. Now, previously, if this person died, the law which applied some time back under common law, it means that the rights which he had under that case would also die with him, and nobody would be able to continue. Okay, but the law changed with the Fatal Accidents Act of England, which is also similar to our Law Reform Miscellaneous Provisions Act. So Uganda has a similar law to the Law Reform Miscellaneous Provisions. Uganda has a similar law to the Fatal Accidents Act of England. And this law allows, both these laws, they allow the rights of the deceased and his obligations to continue surviving even after his death. Okay, are we together? Okay, when we look at some of our laws, I'm sharing my screen. I hope you can be able to see it. Okay, now before we go on, maybe let me read for you a small text here, that common law had a rule laid down in Baker versus Bolton in 1808, that which was to the effect that a person could not recover damages in tort for the death of another. But this changed again, as I've already pointed out, with the Fatal Accidents Act of 1976 of England, which is similar to our Law Reform Miscellaneous Provisions Act, Cap 79, Laws of Uganda. Under this law, Section 11 of the Law Reform Miscellaneous Provisions Act provides that all causes of actions subsisting against or vested in the deceased shall survive for the benefit of his estate. Okay, like the example I've given you, This man sued Umeme for trespass, and he was claiming damages, both general and special damages, and then he suddenly dies. Now this section gives his estate, okay, he gives his beneficiaries the right to continue with this action in court. So it means, I don't know if you've understood, all causes of action subsisting against, even if the deceased was the defendant, that he was being sued for something, okay, even if it meant that the deceased was the one who had wronged somebody and somebody had taken him to court, it means that this cause of action would continue surviving even after his death. It would continue surviving after his death, and the person who sued this deceased person can continue his action against his estate, okay, against the estate of the deceased. Now, how do you continue an action against the deceased? Okay, so this provision is divided into two. The first part is causes of action subsisting against the deceased, and causes of action vested in the deceased, meaning that if it is the deceased who had the right to sue or who was already in court, okay, this cause of action would still continue to survive even after his death. It means that his legal representative, and these are the administrators and the executors, have a right to continue this cause of action in court. Okay, so section 11 is talking about all, but there are exceptions. There are exceptions there under where it's provided that it is only causes of action arising from defamation, seduction, or inducing one spouse to live or remain apart from the other, okay, adultery, claims for adultery that cannot survive after the death of the person. Why is this so? Can we have an answer? Why is this so?